Another day, another great adventure ahead. Now here's the deal. We all love chips, whether you're a young person, a middle-aged person, or even an older person. Sometimes the body just wants chips, and what the body wants, the body gets. Now we have been on a very exciting journey series, learning so much about the Marquise variety, which is preferred by so very many processors. We have done the process of planting, we have harvested, and today we want to do the process of aggregating, processing it into frozen chips, which is then dispatched to your favorite restaurant. And to learn about that and more, we've come all the way to Simplifying French Fries Processing right here in Naivasha. Come along with me. Let us see the process that it takes to make these fries that we love so much. Come.
Karibu Simplify.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Same here.
How's it going?
Good, good.
So far, so good.
So good. Let me take you through the process.
All right.
Of what's supposed to do before we go to the factory itself.
All right.
So we just need you to fill this form. Basically, this form is just to get your details so that if anything happens, we understand.
All right.
So the factory is divided into two.
Right.
So you have the dirty section, then you have your clean section. So we start from the dirty section, going to the clean section, but in between we'll be sanitizing.
No
we have to
problem.
change the shoe cover.
All right.
Yes.
Let's do this.
So we begin where the process begins.
All right.
So welcome to our potato storage area. This is the dirty section. So this is where we receive our potatoes. And there are some parameters which we have to check before we start processing.
All right.
So most of the time we receive in a gunny bag of 50 kilos.
What varieties do you receive here?
What you are seeing currently is Marquise. So Marquise is the most preferred by the processors because it has quite a high dry content. It doesn't have a lot of moisture, then it has a lot of yield at the end. So it comes in this 50 kilo bag. The reason why it's netted because of air circulation. So if you store potato where it's very tight, inside they start getting a little bit rotten. So before having these in gunny bags, it's easier to transfer.
All right.
So from these gunny bags, we transfer into the crates.
The most common variety you have, of course, is the Marquise. But when you're not receiving the Marquise varieties, which other varieties do you have?
In total, actually, Kenya has more than 75 varieties, but most of them are not commercially viable.
Right.
So the one which are commercially viable is Marquise, Shangi, and Challenger.
Challenger.
Those are the ones which are commercially viable. So now it comes to the crates. So by the time it comes to the crate, there's a process which goes through. So our QA person will come and get a sample of 20 kilos. So basically the sample of 20 kilos, what we want to look at is the external damages. If either they have been cut like this.
Like this.
Like that. You see like now. So these are damage on harvesting.
And this?
Yes. So we look at such things.
All
So
right.
basically out of that, we have a percentage in terms of rating.
Right.
So what do we expect in terms of external damage and what do we expect in terms of internal damage?
Right.
That gives us an indication of how we want to process that lot.
Right.
And we don't mix the lot. If farmer A brings this lot, we process it separately. So we don't combine potatoes from different farmers for traceability purposes. I want to introduce you to our quality personnel.
Right.
She's going to tell you what we do in terms of specification from when the truck comes in, offloading, the parameters. So she'll go into details.
Right.
Just to explain what does she do to get the best quality.
Hi. How are you?
Fine,
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Please, before we even get into the details of quality control, introduce yourselves to your viewers back at home and tell us what you do right here at Simplifying.
Okay, my name is Winnie Jabet. I'm in charge of quality assurance at Simplifying Produce. My work entails ensuring that we receive quality raw materials in process quality to the final product, and also in case there are any customer concern, I also address them.
Great. So let us go and go through the process of how you receive the raw product and how you check the quality. Silvio, where do we start?
Okay, so first of all, when the truck docks here, the first thing we check if it's locked, we check if it's clean, if there are any signs of pests, if the truck is carrying non-food ingredients or non-food material. And we also check if there is any presence of foul smell or any other risk of contamination.
Right.
So after we ascertain that the truck is okay, we now start our offloading process. So before the potatoes are offloaded, we request them to bring in samples randomly so that we can randomly pick out the samples.
Right.
So once they're done with that, they pour out. Then now we pick out the samples randomly to a certain kg that we need.
The bags are supposed to be 50 kg.
No, we do our own measuring here. So when they are brought in, they are put on the scale when we measure again.
All right, so this is showing 64.
Yeah.
That's okay.
This crate is like 3 kgs, so
right.
we subtract.
So meaning it's a 64 minus 3.
Yeah.
61.
We will do our sampling because for us we need 12 kg of the sample. So we pick out randomly.
All right.
This is what we use for waste. So because these potatoes are dirty, so when we are receiving them, we use this black crate. These other green crates are used to store now the potatoes here. Now we are sampling, so we just pick randomly the sizes, we mix them.
So how many kgs are we trying to achieve with this?
12 kgs. Let me request one of our employees to remove this so that we can measure our samples.
Sour.
Now we need it to be 14 kgs because the crate is
We need to remove 2 kgs.
Yeah.
All right. So I add. Yeah.
That's okay.
We're good?
Yeah,
So
we're
14 minus 2, 12.
Right. So after we have our sample, the next thing that we do is that we normally wash it so that now we can be able to see the external defects.
All right.
Some of the external defects that we look out for are the vermin damage, mechanical damage, greening, bruising, or any other damage that has happened to the potato.
Right.
We also check if the skin has formed well, like it's not feathery.
All right.
After washing, that's now when we look at the external factors.
All right.
The other thing that we look at is the internal defects. So we'll cut it manually, we cut it and check inside the potatoes if we have hollow hearts or we have brown centers. Because now you can't see it from the outside, it normally forms in the middle of the potatoes.
Can you try cut some samples?
Yeah, we can.
All right.
Cut it like this. Then now you check if it had a brown center or a hollow heart. If it's a hollow heart, there's usually like a hole inside here. Sometimes it has water, and sometimes it's just a hole and has some like brown color.
All right. So how many of these are we going to cut to certify that we're okay?
We usually cut like almost all of them, especially when you cut and see that you keep finding more and more.
All right.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, we're
Seems
good.
like it was a good harvest, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. We're good. All right. So what next after we've cut and certified that we're okay?
So now, apart from now the external factors and the internal factors, the other thing that we check for is the dry matter and the sugar content. So for the dry matter, we have a potato hydrometer. What we do is that, can I just demonstrate it? So like you put your potatoes here in this basket.
The cut ones.
No, whole ones. What we do is that we measure it here.
So here we are measuring the water content.
Yeah, the dry matter.
Dry matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is, am I wrong to say water content? Because the dry matter means it has a higher dry matter and low moisture content.
No, you're not wrong. But our main interest is the dry matter.
The dry matter.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So that is it. So first of all, you measure it outside the air. So you do the measuring in the air. Then the next thing is that you dip it in water. Yeah.
Do you dip this in water?
Yeah. So after you've measured it in air, you dip it in water.
Right.
Then now the machine will calculate automatically. Then you get your results there.
Yeah. All right. So now that we are certain about our dry matter, we go to the sugar content.
Yeah.
How do we measure that?
Using a glucometer.
All right.
Like press your potatoes. We have a presser. So you like press it. And now you get where it has already been like kind of mashed. The juice now that will be from the mashed potatoes. You put it on that strip. Put it in the glucometer and it will drip.
All right.
Yeah.
So how many potatoes are we going to mash until we are certain about the sugar content of that batch that we have?
Just pick randomly like 5.
All right.
Now, yeah, so after we've ascertained that the potatoes being brought are of good quality, they now start offloading. So when they are offloaded, they are put on these green crates. They are palleted, and now we do the lot coding.
We do the what?
The lot coding.
Or the way we have figures.
Yeah, like to show the suppliers, the variety, the grade, and the batch.
Hey, how was it?
It was amazing.
Yes.
So much to learn.
That's
And
good.
she's so brilliant.
Thanks,
Thank you
Rene.
so much. Now
So
we are
now-
reunited again.
Yes, so this number is the total weight for this lot.
Or 937.
Yes. So we work in terms of either ton or within.
So this is?
These 937 kgs,
kgs.
the 4 crates. Then if you look at the other one, is 947, that lot.
All right.
So when we are doing production, we do per ton.
All right.
Yes.
And how do you certify that you have not mixed them? Tajuaje in here from farmer A, farmer B.
If you look at the board there, so these from a different farmer is indicated. So we know.
All right.
So every board has its own number.
All right.
So every farmer has a GRN. Boards receive notes allocated to that specific farmer.
Great.
Yes.
All right.
And that you can trace until the final product.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
So when I was talking about how we do the sample, so we get a 20 kg and we'll cut inside. So I'll give you an example of what we have done with this one. So this is a sample for what we have done for this lot.
Here.
Yeah. So what we do, we'll slice. Yeah. The reason why we slice to look at the sugar content. So when you have high sugar content and you're doing processing, especially frying, pale brown.
Yes.
So we need to understand how much
Sugar content.
we have in the potatoes.
So for the Marquis varieties, what level of sugar content is allowed? Is good.
So in terms of sugar content, 5 to 10% of the normal sugar content within the starch.
So it's supposed to be 5 to 10%.
Yes, not above that.
When it's above, of course, the chips will become brown.
It will become brown. So now we have to change the parameters. Now we are going to blanch it.
All right. So what happens if the sugar content is below 5%?
It's still good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you don't need a lot of sugar content
right.
for the fries.
All right.
On this one, we look at such problematic. So we're saying these are internal damages, become external damage. So we have to check all of these specifically. So all of this sample will do a percentage against a parameter. So as we go in, I'll show you the parameters we look at.
Right.
So those parameters informs us how we are supposed to process this specific lot.
All right.
Yes. Then we'll adjust the line.
Great.
Okay.
And once you have figured this out and seen some of the problems in the Marquis varieties, do you relay the information back to the farmers?
Yes.
Oh,
we
you
give
do
them
that.
feedback. Because at times some of these problems can be based on the chemical within when they are either spraying So there's a lot of dynamics when
Alright.
coming to looking at different potatoes.
So some mistakes can be on a farm level,
Yes.
others at the processing of the seeds level.
Yes. So what we have done generally, we have included the chemical suppliers, the seed suppliers as a group. So most of the time we have consultation. So if you have a challenge, we call them.
All right.
And then go there, talk to the farmer, give them guidance.
Right.
Then in-house we have agronomists who
Uh-huh.
goes to the farmers.
Oh, you have an agronomist
Yes,
here?
in-house agronomists. Before even we get the supply, they'll go there, look at the potato at the farm level, and with that we're able to have indication of what to expect.
Right.
Yes.
So they do that often.
Often, yes. So now, this is the first process you have here. So this is where we do the initial cleaning of the potatoes to remove the mud and a little bit of the skin. Yeah. So
How soon is that done? The moment the potatoes are brought here by the farmers,
Yes.
how soon does the process start?
within 24 hours, we have to finalize that lot.
All right.
The reason why we don't have enough storage to put a lot of potatoes within this facility. So it's a quick turnaround.
Quick turnaround.
It's a quick turnaround.
All right.
Yes.
Will there be any damage in case we leave the potatoes with the mud for a very long time?
Yes.
What are some of the problems we'll start seeing?
The mud is more or less an agent of spoilage. So then if you add a little bit of warmth, it will not last for long.
All right.
Then the other mistake we'll do is we'll start losing moisture.
Okay.
So there will be shrinkage within the potato.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see how this works.
So it's plain water. Okay.
Good.
So now, so from the belt, these are pillars. So we have two pillars. One to start removing the skin and removing the mud. So this pillar one. So pillar one will remove the dirt. If you see here.
Oh,
So
this is the
sludge.
mud.
Yes, this is the mud and the sludge from the first section.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Then it will remove slightly the skin. Yeah.
Oh. Whoa.
Now from that pillar it comes to the second one.
All right. Okay.
So the second pillar, this will try to clean whatever has been stuck from the other end.
So when they're removing the mud,
Yes.
we can see it's filling up.
Yes.
So how often do you clean that up so that it doesn't clog?
It's continuously. If you look at this floor, you will not know it's a potato cleaning, peeling. Yes.
yeah.
So it's a continuous cleaning. So we have people continue cleaning and remove.
All right.
Yeah.
After how long will they come here to clean the mud?
It's every 1 hour. As I said, for this one, more or less to remove the mud and a little bit of the skin.
Right.
So it comes to now this, we call it a dump. A dump will remove excess mud, excess peelings from here.
All right. So
So
this
it-
is when the
You see now it,
little skin has
Yes.
been removed.
So it has a little bit of skin.
Yes.
So now we take it for further processing
All right.
on the pillar 2.
All right.
So pillar 2 will remove excess skin, it will remove a little bit of eyes before it goes now to the clean area.
All right.
Yes.
And how often do we change the water?
After every 1 hour, there's a connection here. We just open and drain the water, then refill.
Right.
If you don't do that, the after effect is going to clog.
Right.
And actually the potato going up will not be clean enough.
Great.
So we use quite a bit of water in this process. Lucky for us, we have a boil water, which has gone a long way to support us in terms of processing.
So you're also doing water conservation here?
Yes.
All right.
So the company actually is big in terms of environment. So in a process of, in terms of how to utilize the water recycling. So in a process of doing that as part of what we need to do before we discharge into the environment.
Right.
Yes.
So what's happening here? I can already see some blades from out here. Tell me more.
So this pillar 2. So pillar 2 now will remove the remainder of the skin and the eyes. Yeah. Now from this point, now it goes to the clean section. So basically it doesn't have mud. It's clean and ready to now to remove the eyes.
Right.
Yes.
So now are you saying with this second pillar we are done with the dirty section?
We are done with the dirty section.
Great. All right. right, now we are learning that there is a lot than what meets the eye. You could be out there enjoying your fries in a restaurant, but what you do not know, there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. And right here at Kenya's Gold, like I told you at the beginning, we are that agricultural show that leaves absolutely no stone unturned when it comes to educating you about all matters agriculture. Now, right about now, I do have a display right here on the table that is going to show you some of the things that could happen to your potatoes that could make them not meet the quality that is required when it comes to processing. Now, the first one here, as you can see, this is green potato. All right, this already is not good quality that is expected when it comes to processing. So what might happen that may lead to you getting green potatoes? This means when you are planting your potatoes, you did not cover them well with the soil. You remember, when we're planting our potatoes, they do have sprouts, right? So when your sprouts are exposed to excess sunlight, then your potato will become green. So when you're planting, my dear farmers, make sure that you are covering your potatoes very well in the farm. Now, we also have this, which we are calling a hollow heart. All right, and you can see my hollow heart is brown. I'll start explaining the hollow heart first. So sometimes there's drought, and then you plant your potatoes, and then there's a lot of water, there's a lot of rain like we just experienced. When they're overwatered, this makes the tuber grow excessively fast, and then it bulges out, it expands, and then we get the hole. So that happens when there was excess water, you did excess irrigation, or there were floods. But then again, we also have the browning. When you notice, we have the brown. This means your soil was lacking a particular nutrient. And that's why we advise you every single time you're setting out to do planting in your farm, make sure you do soil testing. Make sure you get a professional agronomist to help you know what you could be possibly lacking in your soil, so that we avoid situations such as this. Are we good until there? Great. Now, moving to the next one, we have what we call mechanical damage. As you can see, a big chunk of my potato has been removed. So this could happen when you're harvesting. Depending on what you're using, unaweza chimba ukute umechimba potato yenyewe, and that's why we advise that you're very, very careful when you're doing your harvesting, so that you make sure you're not chipping your potatoes. This already makes your potato a bad quality. This is because of mechanical damage. And then finally, we have bruised potato. You could be in the farm, you've harvested nicely, lakini wakati wa handling umeenda umezitupanisha kwa tray or the crate or the floor, like you're being very aggressive. You need to be very careful as you put them in your crate, because when you roughly handle your potatoes, they bruise on the skin, and this again leads to your potato being poor quality. And also during storage, make sure you're storing in a place where there's no water, because then they'll start rotting. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure our farmers are meeting the quality that is expected in the market. That's the only way for you to make sure that also you're getting good returns. We are not yet done with the feature. I know you want to see a lot more when it comes to processing. That will be happening after this short commercial break that we are about to take. Now, if you do have any question or feedback that you'd like to send through to us, talk to us across all our social media platforms, on Instagram at Kenya's Gold. Our SMS line is 22422, and our email is kenyasgold@royalmedia.co.ke. So now, dear class, it's time for us to take our first break. So let's get the bell, please. There we go. See you after the break.